Hello, Tri-Deltas, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Tri-Delta. I'm Karen White, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Tri-Delta's Chief Executive Officer. I also have the amazing honor of interviewing some of our amazing sisters and bringing you their stories right here on the podcast. And today is no different. We have an amazing guest, Caroline Cook from Vanderbilt, who's with us today. Caroline is a real estate agent, a writer, a teacher, and a speaker. She's passionate about spreading truth and love to a wide audience. And she's got a new book. It's called Hungry. And in it, Caroline offers a message of hope by sharing her own recovery story of how she found freedom from an eating disorder. February marks National Eating Disorders Awareness Month. It's a crucial time to shed light on the significance of understanding and supporting individuals who are suffering with disordered eating. And there's so much more to Caroline and her story. So we're going to delve into all of it right now. So much to uncover and discuss. Caroline, hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, and thank you for having me. This is such a treat, Karen.
Well, we're thrilled to get to know you a little better and to learn more about your book. So Hungry, as we've discussed, has been a long time in the making, since college, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
This is a book that I had a dream about writing once I got into recovery. But yes, definitely even in college. There's a lot about that in this book.
All right, well, take us back, if you will, to the start. Maybe share your journey, the journey that led you to write the book. And maybe there's a part of this story about being crowned homecoming queen on the football field.
So this story starts right before my senior year in high school. I was entering into the new world of where I'm going to college, what I was going to do post graduation, and it was really scary.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the words at the time, but I think I was experiencing a lot of anxiety. And I started to flirt with restricting my food intake as a way of feeling more in control. The homecoming story that you mentioned, when I speak to groups of girls, I usually start with this moment where I was on the football field. I was a cheerleader. I was one of the girls that was up for homecoming queen, and they announce my name. I get the crown. I get the roses. You imagine it's the best moment of my life.
Yes.
Inside, I kept hearing these loud, ugly words of, "You are so fat. You are so fat. Get off the field. You've got to get off the field. Everybody's staring at you." So even though it looked like I was having this perfect moment, it was actually a kind of a nightmarish moment for me that I remember.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, hey, it's way past me. So now I get to say the good stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. Now, you talk about hungry as a metaphor, right? Do you want to explain that and maybe talk about the significance of the book cover?
Yeah. So starting with the book cover, for those who can see this, there's a big, fun, happy birthday cake on it that says Hungry.
Yeah.
So obviously, the topic of eating disorders doesn't sound like it's going to be a really fun topic, right? But really, it is a celebratory story because I am way in recovery. I've been in recovery for 30 plus years. So from the get-go, I certainly want people to know this is going to be a joyous book.
Yeah.
It's going to be like people say, they laugh, they cry, they smile, they hurt inside when they read it. But at the end, it really is a happy, happy story. I always say to be human is to be hungry. I've got 4 kiddos, and for those of us who've had children, what do you do the minute they come out? Well, you're feeding, they're crying, and you immediately try and get them to eat.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're hungry from the get-go, not only for physical food, but we're hungry for purpose. We're hungry for love, for connection. There's so many things about us as humans that put us in a state of hunger.
I think that's incredibly insightful, right? And then sort of paralleling that with your journey um, of recovery, right, from disordered eating. Now you're on a mission to speak to various groups, starting with Tridelta. So we're honored for about that.
Absolutely. I would be super sad if it wasn't hardcore tried out hit. I've got to get to my girls first.
Love it. So this is about promoting health, wellness, and recovery. And so, how do you navigate the topic with groups so that the conversation can really be as profound as it is, especially in this day and time?
Yeah, I usually when I go and talk to a chapter or sorority or high school, the girls are a little nervous.
Yeah.
What is this girl's going to come talk about? What? Oh my gosh. I don't know if I want to hear it. Sounds sad. And I just bound in there with a lot of energy, with a lot of smiles. I mean, there's nothing about me that's not big and bright. So immediately, I think that the feel is okay, this is going to be fun. Well, I don't know how this girl is going to talk about this topic with being fun, but it is. And we talk a lot about, I tell them my story, but we talk a lot about the contagiousness of
Mhm.
wellness
Yeah.
when it comes to body image and healthy eating and how we live. And we can be actually, we can be agents of good or
Yes.
for bad. I know people who have gotten to college and they have actually their eating disorders have gotten so much better by other girls around them saying, "No, we're not going to do that. Let's all go have lunch. We need to eat, fill our bodies with food. We need that." Or same thing, you could go be around a bunch of girls and realize, "Oh gosh, they don't feed their bodies. They're not using fuel. I guess I don't want to look like the fat one in the group or the one that's too indulgent. I better not eat lunch today." And so it's really powerful the people we surround ourselves with in this area.
Oh, 100%. And I know right, that Tridelta was really courageous. And this is back in the day. Um, Sort of the first group that recognized that power of group think when it comes to disordered eating and really went out on a limb with our reflections program, right, which has since become Body Image 3D. But I look back on that period. I didn't work for Tridelta at the time, but I recognize we were sort of talking about the elephant in the chapter room. Nobody really wanted to
So
talk about
important.
how,
That's
yeah,
it's Yeah, it's so important. And it still surprises me how people will say, no one's really talking about this. I'm so glad you're talking about it. And I just think, how can you not talk about it?
well,
There,
and you've seen the stats since the pandemic, right? The levels of disordered eating are at an all-time high. So I'm grateful you're talking about it. And of course, Tridelta has continued to do the same thing.
well, that's such good news. And I'm so proud that Tridel, it doesn't surprise me one bit that they were one of the first to recognize that and make it a priority. I use a statistic that is just so powerful when I speak, that according to college campuses, 91% of women admit to controlling their weight through dieting. So you're right.
Absolutely.
And eating disorders thrive in isolation. So of
Yeah.
course we created, or Corona, I should say, created
Yeah,
this environment where it really did just skyrocket.
it absolutely did. Now, you're an advocate, you're a speaker, you're an author, but you're also a mom. You've
Yes.
got four kids, you've got three daughters. Uh,
Yes.
you've got a couple Trideltas in there, which we love, love, love.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So three daughters, though, and the four of you, love cooking together, right? So, raising daughters, what did you do to ensure that they didn't follow down that path and fall prey to all the dangers, right, of disordered eating?
This is usually one of the first questions I get when I go speak to girls, even is they
Yeah.
say, the minute I finish for Q&A, someone will raise their hand and say, "So what did you do differently?" I think girls really want to know, tell me how it works. What did you do? And the main thing that I did was make in our family, eating dinner together was a real priority. Cooking together is a real priority. Teaching my girls how to cook for themselves once they went to college, what was normal, what wasn't normal.
Yeah.
We also made it a priority that scales, I still have a few triggers in my life. I don't really get on a scale. I don't really need to know those numbers. I
Right.
don't track all those calories and things people do these days. If someone has a watch that does something to figure out metabolic numbers about me, I run the other direction. I don't want to know. I
Yes.
don't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my house, we keep the conversation real positive. I even checked with my kind of a fact check with my girls the other day. I said, "Didn't is it true?" Because in my head, it's true that I never really said I felt fat or looked fat. And they said, "Yeah, no, mom, you really didn't." Because first of all, I feel great. I feel
Yeah.
really good about myself. And so I wanted my girls to feel that way too. And I just didn't want that negative language. You're going to get enough of that in the world.
Oh
I wanted
gosh.
our house to be a safe place where they could eat what they wanted to, and we could feel good about feeding our bodies here.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important. And um, children, young women, girls look to their moms to, as a model for some of that behavior, right?
Absolutely. In fact, if I'm talking to moms, which I have talked with a lot of moms over the past 30 years. Moms, if you don't want your girls to have an eating disorder, I have something to say to you. Don't have an eating disorder. It,
Right.
it, it,
Yes.
the only thing we can't control our children, but we can be the best role model that we can. And so if we are constantly talking about complaining about our bodies or complaining not looking a certain way, of course our children are going to feel that and hear that and train themselves into thinking, well, gosh, do I look bad? Should I look a certain way? There's just such an opportunity as moms to create a healthy playing field as they grow up in
Yeah,
this.
and parents too. I would say, moms, parents, caregivers, dads, right? Just this way of just accepting and loving people for exactly who they are, not the size in their clothing label.
Yes, it's certainly a good start if we can do
Well,
that.
so tell me about like your take on social media, right? Because, we can love them and set great examples at home, and then they go to social media, and I feel like, it's all there.
Absolutely. There are so many things that have gotten better since I was in high school. For example, you walk into a store and they have a plus size mannequin,
Yeah.
or, really healthy looking people, not just twiggy. So that's great. But I didn't have social media when I was in high school. So to your point, what do I think about social media? I think it can be terrible, terrible in this department.
Yeah.
And if you are someone who struggles with an eating disorder, you probably shouldn't be on social
Yeah.
media. It's probably too difficult. It
Yeah.
really is. I think, and I use social media. I have an Instagram account. I'm trying to grow my platform. I see a lot of good with it.
Sure.
But I think for someone who's really trying to comparing themselves with others, it can be very dangerous and detrimental, and probably just not advisable to even take a break. They
Right.
probably need to know their limits.
It's a little social media detox, right? I think
Yeah,
that just that perfect ideal that's out there, that is especially with all of the ways you can alter social media and filter social media, right? Some of it's not even accurate or true. It's kind of an unattainable ideal.
absolutely, absolutely.
So let's talk about you, because there is a fun fact about you that you studied opera and you were actually signed by a record label in Nashville. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, and I meant to, yeah, I had, so yes, I did some operas at Vanderbilt. Loved singing and really thought I would pursue that, and did pursue that after college. I was signed with MCA, really as a production deal as a new artist. And it was awesome. It was so fun. I thought for sure I'd be on the road within a few years of graduating. But I did meet Wes Cook, my husband.
Yes.
And, he kind of derailed some of those plans.
Sometimes they
Uh, and I just couldn't wait to get married and start a family with him. And yeah, I'm still the best kept secret in town. I'm really affordable. I'm usually $0. So usually I
love
sing for the office Christmas party and things like that.
it. Well, you may hear from Tri Delta because you never know where we might need you to, belt out Alpha Theta Phi for us.
I could do it. I could do it.
So, and you also write children's books. And is it true that your mom is the illustrator of your children's books?
She is. Now she was a Kappa, but we'll let her
It's
in.
okay. NPC love, right?
Yes. Yeah. We've got a big old group of one daughter was Theta, mom's a Kappa. We represent lots of them. But yeah, mom's a wonderful artist, and we wrote these children's books together. We've been selling them for about 10 years, and we're actually getting ready to reprint those in hardback, and they'll be coming out in the spring.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
Yeah.
How exciting. So then, on top of what you do, career-wise, you're active in several nonprofit organizations. And you, as I understand it, you chair the Antiques and Garden Show of Nashville, which listeners, that is not a small thing, just so you know. So tell us more about your volunteer work.
Well, yes, I am chairing the Nashville Antiques and Garden Show. It'll be in January, and it has absolutely been the biggest thing I have done volunteer wise in my volunteer life. And it's so awesome. It's one of the best in the country. We're having Ina Garden come be our keynote speaker.
Oh, just Ina.
Just
I
Ina.
love
And she
it.
doesn't
That's
get out
awesome.
much. So this is really big. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just, she taught us all how to cook. So we're so excited to see what she has to say. But, I love volunteer opportunities because I can give back to my beautiful city of Nashville. I love getting to know these people I'm working with, and just what I'm exposed to, the caliber of people that I get to work with from marketing and the PR people, and just the behind the scenes. It's just a real opportunity to get to do it. So I was happy to say yes to that job.
Well, I know they are grateful for you. Tri Delta is powered by 3,000 volunteers, and I will tell you, we cannot do without a single one of them, and we are extraordinarily grateful to them. So thank you for putting on such a great show in Nashville. And I'm really
Yeah.
jealous that you're getting time with that. I love Ina, the Barefoot Contessa. I mean,
I know.
love her.
I mean, she's the best. We're just wondering if Jeffrey's coming. We don't know. We don't know.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be such a treat?
Such a treat.
So
Such a treat.
much fun. All right, so let's talk about Tri Delta.
Okay.
Uh, it holds a special place in your family generations. Is it right that your great grandmother was a Tri Delta?
Yes. Can you believe that? In fact, today I was texting with my dad. We think that was about 1916.
Oh my gosh,
I
right?
know. What a stud she must have been. To be,
Absolutely.
she was at
Wonder
the
if you knew
University.
Sarah Ida Shaw, right? Wouldn't that be
I
cool?
mean, who knows? She was at University of Missouri, and her name was Mary Elizabeth Rawlings. She grew up in
Yeah.
St. Louis, and my second daughter is named after her, and is her. She goes by Raleigh. So yeah, I chaired the Eve of Janus a few years ago here in Nashville,
Yeah, yeah.
and right before all the girls came on stage, my mom leaned over to me. Her name was Noni, and she said, "Noni would be so proud of you." And that was really amazing to think, what she would. I knew Noni well. She didn't pass away until her 90s. So how cool that I knew my great grandmother Tridell.
That is amazing. And then two daughters at Ole Miss.
Yes. Two
Nice.
daughters. I've been to pinned them both.
Uh,
Um, the Tridelt House in Oxford is unbelievable. So
Amazing.
beautiful.
Yes.
Their
Yes.
chapter is just something I'm so proud of them. And they both love being Tridelts there. And we've loved getting to know all those girls. So Yeah, it's a big part of our life.
I love it. And you've continued connections and communication with your pledge class too.
Absolutely. Being here in Nashville gives me the opportunity to go to Vanderbilt homecoming quite a bit, which is so fun. And we just recently went on a trip, about 10 of us, to Florida from our pledge class. So yeah, we stay a really close touch.
Love that. I mean, what it's hard to share with collegians is that Tri Delta really is a lifelong experience and journey. I think it's hard to know that as a college woman. But from my seat, traveling as much as I do on behalf of Tri Delta, I just see it everywhere. How this permeates your life. It's a part of the fabric of your life, and I love that you're enjoying that.
Oh, and like we're talking about hungry, to be hungry as human, we're hungry for connection
Yes,
that
we
from
are.
the get-go.
Yep.
And that is what sororities do. And what Tridelt has done for me is it gave us such a beautiful way to plug in and learn about volunteering, learn about groups of how powerful groups of women can be. Um, so yeah, we will never stop wanting that connection, I don't think.
I agree. And for me, I wonder too, um, you've held some really big volunteer leadership roles in Nashville, Eve of Janice and the Antiques and Garden Show. Can you connect any of that leadership development and skills back to being a part of a women's group in college? Was there any translation from one to the other?
Absolutely. I think after 4 years of being really plugged in, which I was at Tridelt, you naturally seek that
Yeah.
after college. And especially not being from here, I'm from Austin, and here I was in Nashville starting a family, and I wanted to plug in. And the Trident chapter here is really wonderful, really involved. And the Eve of Janice has
Yeah.
always been a great group of ladies. So that was a real natural fit to go there and start cheering things. And I think it was probably my role as cheering Eve of Janice that, you know, alerted somebody with the Antiques and Garden Show. Well, she did that, then maybe she'll do this.
Yes, when they find those that are willing to, do what they do so well and willing to say yes, right? I am sure there are a lot of invitations to step up and lead.
Ah, it's been fun. I consider it just a real privilege to get to do it.
Well, so the world needs more Caroline Cooks. Let me just start there. But so more broadly, like what kind of message or advice do you have for young adults and especially those that might be in our collegiate world, say 18 to 22? What kinds of things do you share with young women?
Well, that is my real passion right now. I wrote this so that I can go and speak
Yeah.
to women all around the country, I hope, which I've already been doing, to really say this is avoidable. I really believe that with some education and some storytelling,
Yeah.
that I can help girls navigate this and really avoid it. Really just know it's just not a good way to go. I always say, okay, who raise your hand if you use a map? And of course, lots of people raise their hand. I say, okay, who uses Waze? We all use that Waze app.
Sure. Yeah,
And of course,
absolutely.
all of our hands go up. Well, why do we use Waze instead of a map? Because it tells us what's going on ahead that we can't see, right? It tells you about a wreck that happens 10 miles up, or tells you some shortcuts to take. I'm giving people a shortcut. I'm giving them a road that I'm saying, avoid this and come over this way. So, and I'll tell you, I have been so just happy when I get these letters or texts from girls, and I really have, that say, this worked. This book helped. Now I'm seeing that I don't have to live that way, that it's really an addiction. It's addictive behavior that if you're willing to lay it down and realize it is not anything but chains imprisoning you, if you're willing to lay that down, you can live a life that's free of that. I always say, the opposite of anorexia is not fat. The opposite is free.
Yeah.
I live a life free of this, and I never thought it could happen. When I was in treatment and all the doctors talked about when I would get better and when all this, I thought, they actually think I'll live someday where this isn't a part of my life. I never thought it was possible. So if it can happen to me, if I can live outside of those prison walls, anyone can.
I mean, what an inspiration, right? Thank you for sharing that. And first of all, I don't think there's anything you can't do. And I know there are some things coming up, right? There may be a podcast and a cookbook. So what's on the horizon for Caroline Cook?
Well, yes, after I wrap up this beautiful antiques and garden show, I will get back in the driver's seat of this. Um, yeah, I have my daughters and I have talked very seriously about coming up with a college girl cookbook, which I would say is in the works loosely. And then I'm on the board of a recovery center here in Nashville for women, and talks of a podcast about well women, wellness, and women and recovery stories. Something that we are talking about. I'm just excited. I may write something. I may write another book. I love girls. I love the topic of living free of addictive, just anything that would really pull us down. I think our lives are powerful, and if your heart is beating, then you are supposed to be here. So let's figure out what that is supposed to be. um I love people, and I love encouraging them to go big,
Yeah.
dream big.
I just think you are an inspiration, so positive. And I think this idea of encouraging women to share their stories, to your earlier point, disordered eating is often lonely. And women often suffer in isolation. And I think when women who are suffering see that there are others like them, I think that's when healing, and even that possibility, right, can emerge that there could be life beyond what they're struggling with. So thank you for modeling that, for talking about it, and for writing this book. And I mean, all the great things you're going to do, as you're moving forward here. How can we follow you? How can we find your book? How can we keep up with you and all the good things coming?
Well, I've got lots of ways to do that. So I am on Instagram, Caroline B. Cook. And then I have a website, Caroline B. Cook as well. This book, Hungry, is on Amazon. And I
Wonderful.
would love for you to order it on Amazon. I also read it on Audible. So if you're more of a listener,
Yeah.
that's fun to do. And I would love for anyone to write a review about it. Yeah, I think you're going to find me. If you look at all, if you could type in Caroline B. Cook, you will find me. And I would just love for people to come alongside, and let's just keep up the good work with spreading the good news.
Awesome. Thank you, Caroline B. Cook. We are so thrilled for you and grateful that you're sharing your story and your message. I can't wait to read your book personally and follow you on your journey of greatness. There are just big things coming, and I'm going to be paying attention to the outcomes of the Antiques and Garden Show. So
Thank
super
you.
exciting. Yeah.
Yes.
Best of luck. Again, February is National Eating Disorders Awareness Month. So learn more about Caroline B. Cook and about TriDelta's transformational programming around body image and self-esteem, how we as TriDelta are investing in women around this exact topic. You can find that information on tridelta.org under the Foundation tab. Look for transformational programming. And as always, we hope you'll like, subscribe, and rate our podcast. We love 5-star ratings at Let's Talk TriDelta. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, Delta Love.